Let me introduce myself. I'm Elizabeth Cadbury. Yes, that's right, of Cadbury's chocolate. Now, here we are, standing behind what used to be the Priory Telephone Exchange over on Church Road. I remember it being built back in the early 1930s now, I think it was. And when it opened, Church Road wasn't the buzzing main road it is today, far from it. It was a sleepy back road then with very few vehicles and certainly without a great big shopping centre at the end of it. Over this small road the exchange towered, and now you can still see it standing proudly there, offering a fine example of Art Deco industrial architecture. It's just a shame that somebody came along and put a great big 1960s extension behind it. Slightly unsympathetic, wouldn't you say? Now, if we come behind the building, we see a much smaller one, because behind that great lump of a building, down a small alleyway leading to Victoria Common, built in 1929 on land donated by my husband, George Cadbury, and designed by a Quaker architect and friend, Ernest Hickman, we have the Northfield Friends Meeting House. It cost £3,400 to build, which is nothing these days, but it was a fair amount back then. And it was like a very small church for Quakers' use only, and it was where Quakers used to meet. Thankfully, unlike the telephone exchange, it is still in use today. Before it opened, Quakers used to meet, well, first of all, over on the Bunbury Road, in a disused malt house of all places, which would have made a very interesting venue. Then George decided to improve upon the situation. Using land acquired close by, there he built the Northfield Institute, which opened its doors in 1892, and it was a grand sight to see. George's initials were carved over the door, and they can still be seen there to this day. The Institute was quite the hub of activity, with a schoolroom, a billiard room, a double skittle alley, and a temperance coffee house called the Cyclists' Arms, which is why the meeting house had to be built. We Quakers like a lot of quiet, silence even in our meetings, especially the religious ones, and the Institute was getting just a little too loud. Today, the Institute is Northfield Adult Education Centre, and I think George would be pleased, because he firmly believed that everyone should have access to a good education. We always tried to improve the area in which we lived. I was a great champion of women's rights, and I was a suffragette, a non-violent one, of course, because I am a well-known pacifist. But opportunities and equality for women were always forefront in my mind. I was the founder of Birmingham Union of Girls' Clubs in 1898, and I was very active in the YWCA and the National Council for Women from 1896 onwards. A decade later, we opened the Woodlands Park Hospital in 1909, now the Royal Orthopaedic Hospital. And George donated the Lickey Hills Country Park to the people of Birmingham too. Quakerism drove us to want to create warm and welcoming spaces for people to meet and exchange ideas. It made us want to better the facilities of the places in which we worked and the conditions and the lives of the people with whom we worked. Quakerism drove us to do a lot, and if that is the mark that we leave on this world, then it is one that I am proud to have made.